Hello, my name is Ihidero, consulting producer Lady Buckit and the Motley Mopsters. This is the process behind the making of Lady Buckit and the Motley Mopsters.
What if wishes could come true?
Bookie! Let's go!
Lady Buckit is a coming-of-age story of a little girl who has life's lessons to learn and who has got to travel from familiar territory into a new world to discover herself and also to discover the possibilities, the endless possibilities before her.
Would you be careful what you wished for?
I wish I could go back in time.
You're a smart girl. I'm sure you'll find a way. Okay.
Lady Buckit had been on for about, for a little over a year before I was brought in. The executive producer, Blessing Amidu, had been trying to do this animation film for a while and things weren't moving as fast as she wanted. So someone asked her to go find me and she found me and we started talking about it and then I jumped on board, which would be very early September 2019. I suppose what started for me, the real process was when we needed to find our lead animator. When I came on board, the talk had been about doing the animation abroad and the financial consideration for that was quite hefty and there had been conversations with a couple of animators here in Nigeria, but no one had done a feature animation film. There had been attempts at shorts, there had been some attempts at different kinds of things. And I mean, some success had been achieved in that era, but no one had done a feature. So finding that lead animator became my first, most important job. And when I had chats with the guy that eventually became our lead animator and director, Adebisi Adetayo, it became very obvious to me very early that, this guy knew what he was doing. And of course, I would discover later that he had worked on Game of Thrones, which then piqued my interest even more. And, we gave him a test and he came out in flying colors and we made a decision to have the animation done in Nigeria and to have him and his team of 29 animators work on it. So that kicked off the process because once we had him, then I could bring in Ava Momo to do music and Ava brought in DJ Clem to produce the original soundtrack, Bankole Adedoyin to do final mix audio, Awazi to be production coordinator.
Nigerians prepare to give a warm welcome to Queen Elizabeth. The Federal Minister of Labour and Welfare, Chief Festus Okotie Ebo, has encouraged Nigerians to give a memorable display of hospitality.
Before I came on board, Bimbo Akintola, Kalu Ikiagu, Patrick Doyle had been in the picture, and then we did the casting for younger actors, Simi Hassan, David Apokona, and all of those, Casey, all of those guys came in. We recorded 14 tracks. The film has 14 original songs. We recorded all of that. We redid the voicing. We changed the screenplay. The screenplay I met when I came on board, we needed to work on the story, and we did that, and Ayo Arigbabu rewrote the screenplay and gave us the kind of film we wanted. I brought Chiemeka Osoagu to do the script editing. Tomilola Adeyemo and Chiemeka contributed to script story development. So that process meant that we had to redo the story and then go into voice recording and then character building and then animatics and then the production design. The world of the film had to be built from scratch, and then we had to even character design. We had to go through building each character what they look, they feel their reactions and all of that. And we had to sign off all of that at every point, just so the animators knew what we wanted and how we wanted. I mean, deciding Buki's hair texture took maybe 2 months for us to decide what Buki's hair texture would look like. So that's the kind of thing you need to do with animation. So it was a very long process, but I'm grateful that we were able to stick, to excellence. We're able to demand excellence from all the people working on it, and as the final product shows, that's a possibility, and I'm glad we achieved that. We knew from day one that this idea that the Nigerian audiences don't watch animation or they don't watch kind of story, it's true. It's not true. Same Nigerian audiences watched Lion King, they've watched Disney movies, they've watched Pixar movies. The difference is the kind of quality you bring to them. So if you're going to do animation, then you've got to do it to look like what they're used to, which is what we've been able to deliver with Lady Buckit. If you do animation and the animation looks awful, don't expect them to come and watch it, because then it's not looking like what they are used to watching. But if you do animation that looks like animation should look, like quality animation should look, then Nigerians will watch. So we never had any fears about whether or not Nigerians were going to. In fact, if the responses we have gotten so far is anything to go by, Nigerians are happy that their stories are being told in this way, and that these possibilities are also available to them in the world of animation for Nigerian stories, and that's very encouraging.
What's that on your chest?
Every story must reflect its contextual reality. So our aim was not to feel like Hollywood. Our aim was to sit in the contextual reality of Nigeria. The story is broken into two worlds: 1956 Oloibiri in Bayelsa State, and 2019 Oloibiri as imagined. So we are saying that perhaps if we had spent our oil resources better as a country, this is what Oloibiri in Bayelsa State would have looked like in 2019. And so from that point, it had to look and feel like the Oloibiri 1956 had to look and feel. It would have been totally off if it had looked like somewhere in America. It needed to look authentically. In filmmaking, if you took a camera and opened it in New York, it should look and feel different if you took a camera and flipped it on in Lagos, Nigeria. So the hues and the colors picked were deliberately done so that anyone watching would know that this is authentically Nigerian, and it makes no apologies about it. For me, Lady Buckit and the Motley Mopsters is already amazingly successful, because now if someone says to you, Nollywood, this, how people can say stuff about Nollywood and the level of quality and all, well, you can always point to Lady Buckit and the Motley Mopsters and say, well, that was done in Nigeria by Nigerians. Not 1 second of it was done outside this country. Every bit of it, from design to animation to rendering, post-production, not one person who isn't Nigerian was involved in it. Not 1 second of it was done outside this country. So that's success. It's success for me that people in Nollywood would look at Lady Buckit and the Motley Mopsters and say to themselves, well, if these guys could do that, maybe we should also try harder and deliver this level of quality, this level of excellence.
It teaches a lot of moral lessons.
The movie teaches us that everything.
I hate this part.
Hi, I'm Moops.
As Nigeria prepares to...
That is the process behind Lady Buckit and the Motley Mopsters.